Crafters, it's Louise with you today on behalf of Kitaholic Kits, and I'm playing around with the January 2019 kit, which is full of so many pretty goodies, but I'm really struggling to get my creative juices flowing. So what I'm going to do is try and focus on a colour palette. So in this case, I'm sort of leaning towards that neutral, so the black and white teamed with the orange. So I started with this solid patterned background paper, but as I'm sort of fiddling around, I'm kind of thinking, no, it's too dark, it's too much pattern. I really wanted to simplify it a little bit. So I look through the elements that I've got and I'm sort of thinking to myself, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to add some white gesso to the background? Do I want to tear these papers? Do I want to cut them? Do I need a cut file? These are sort of all things that are going through my head as I'm working with the elements in the collection. So as I think about it a little bit more, I decide that I'm going to cut that paper and use white cardstock in the background. It's sort of my go-to when I'm struggling, and not particularly inventive, so nothing too challenging or mixed media. But what I wanted to do was also be quite honest with you about this layout and the difficulties that I had, because all you see when you watch the video is the parts of it that actually make it onto the video, so the techniques or the way to use a particular product. But in this case, I wanted to show you how I actually worked through the process. So I sort of thought of creating a circle around that paper circle that I had there with those wood veneer pieces, but as I'm laying it out, I'm sort of going, I'm still not particularly happy with this. It looks okay. I'm trying to use as many elements from this kit because I think if I end up keeping them in my stash, I'm probably not likely to use them down the track. So by using them now when they're fresh in my mind and they're all new, I know that they're getting added to pages and I don't have to worry about them sitting in my stash. So one of the things for me this month is to try and create with as much out of this kit as I can. So with that line of thinking, I decided that I was going to focus on those wood veneer pieces. Now, this is certainly not my own idea. I didn't come up with the wood veneer pieces down the center of the page. It was a video that I saw online, and I know lots of crafters have done it before me, but it's certainly a really good way to use up lots of wood veneer pieces when you've got plenty of them floating around. So off camera, I have gone ahead and stitched down around that circle. And I wanted to have this little love wood veneer piece stand out a little bit more from the background. So I'm just covering it with some embossing powder. I haven't actually pulled out my embossing powders for a while. So when I wanted it to stand out, again, I thought to myself, what am I going to do? I could cover it with acrylic paint. I could just use adhesive and glitter. I could use foil, lots of different things. But I decided that the heat embossing was going to help enhance the page as opposed to detracting from the page. And you can see my little helper there. He's pointing to the photo of himself, giving me a bit of a hand, asking what I'm doing. So I'm using also the Nuvo watercolor pencils that came with the mixed media kit, and again, these are something that I've sort of struggled to use with the kit. I haven't really been able to find a way to use them on a layout that I've actually felt comfortable with. So I, off camera, had a little play around to see how they reacted with water, how they actually looked on a page, and then I used the orange coloured one because I had that pop of orange. So I wanted to really highlight the actual word love as the title and then fill in that space around with those wood veneer pieces. And you can see over the years I've collected quite a bit of a wood veneer stash, and drop me a comment if you've got a wood veneer stash at home, and certainly share a photo on the Facebook page too. We'd love to see how you store your wood veneers and how many you've actually got in your stash, because I'm sure that as scrapbookers we all tend to get quite a collection of them over the years, and this is why I'm trying to use them. So not only am I stash busting here, but I'm using elements out of the January kit as well. Now, off camera, I am going to go ahead and glue that all down. I'm not going to make you watch that. The little smile and the piece of twine down the bottom there, I actually used my hot glue gun just so that it would immediately fix to the page and I didn't have to wait for the tacky glue to set. Now these little black hearts, again, flicking through what I had available in the kit, I sort of am trying to get as much on a page without actually having it be too overwhelming. So the little black hearts I think fit in quite well, and I'm going to use some of the exclusive cuts again in the darker colours just to help enhance the photo and the layout. So as much as this page hasn't been particularly technically challenging, it was one I started at the beginning of the month as a design team project, and then as the month progressed it just got pushed to the side while I started something else, and eventually I sort of came back to it and decided that I needed to make sure that it was heading in the right direction and that I ended up with a layout I was happy with. So I thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. Of course, comments are always welcome. Make sure you have subscribed to myself and of course check out Kitaholic Kits.